And so before I get started, make sure you guys hit that like button for me. And if you're not new to the channel and you enjoy the content so far on this channel, make sure you guys go ahead and hit that subscribe button for me as well. And so let's go ahead and dive right in. The other day I came across a video featuring Keyshawn Johnson and former Major League Baseball player David Justice, in which they were discussing the current state of baseball, Major League Baseball in particular as it pertains to Black Americans.
We don't see a whole lot of American black players in the major leagues today. Opening day, it was only 6%. Record historical low for American black players to be playing in the major leagues. How can that get fixed and changed so we could get back to having more American baseball players out on the diamond?
And that's a question I've often asked myself. I've asked myself that question many times because I'm somebody that loves baseball. Baseball is one of my first loves. One of the first sports that I gravitated towards too, mainly because I was good at it. And I watched players like Deion Sanders, Ken Griffey Jr., Barry Bonds.
A high drive to right field. This ball is gone. And he drives it to right field and deep, and that baby is gone. No doubt about it.
And so those are some of the players that I looked up to and wanted to emulate when I was out on the field. But we don't see those players anymore. We don't see those Black American superstar Major League Baseball players anymore.
So the question is that anybody would be asking is well, where'd all the brothers go? So I think let's talk about that. One, basketball and football have done such a great job of making their sports so sexy. And if you in the hood, all you need is a football.
And so that's absolutely true. If you live in the hood or you don't necessarily have adequate conditions to be able to have access to what other kids have access to, all you need is a basketball. That's it. You don't even need any other players to play. All you need is a basketball and a hoop, unlike the sport of baseball in which you need a lot. But unfortunately, it's a lot more complex and a lot more sinister than that. It's not as easy or as simple as saying African Americans don't have the money or don't have access to be able to play the game of baseball. It's a lot deeper than that.
Well, Reverend Al, I'll tell you what I know. Okay, back in 1982, when I worked for the San Francisco Examiner, I did something that had never been done before or since. I did a detailed study on this. 1982, there was 18% African Americans in baseball. The all-time high was in the mid-70s at 27%. From talking to black players, white players, executives, all on the record, there were people who told me, again, on the record, that there was a quota system in Major League Baseball that was purposely phasing out African Americans. That's how I became close with Hank Aaron in 1982. And the consensus back then was, by the turn of the century, the 21st century, that the numbers would be below 10%, which they are right now. And matter of fact, I even had the smoking gun, Reverend Al. I had a white scout give me a computerized scouting report from Major League Baseball back in 82. They had a slot for race. They were keeping track of how many African Americans were in the game. I checked with the National Football League with their scouting report, the NBA and their equivalency of a scouting report back then. They did not have race on their forms, only Major League Baseball.
They build facilities in Venezuela, Puerto Rico, Dominican Republic. They build facilities for underprivileged Latin kids.
Fields today are excited to officially open this new state-of-the-art Dominican Baseball Academy. The 22.5-acre complex will be home to the Orioles Regional Facility for Caribbean, Central, and South American player development operations.
Because they're giving them an opportunity that they would not have because of their financial means. And we see a lot of Latin players come to the major leagues and ball out. Why can't you do that stateside, though? Why can't you put facilities in LA and fund them? Put something in the South, put something, put them, strategically around the country and provide an avenue for us to play like you do in these other countries. Well, Keyshawn, that's be simple to do, right?
It feels that way.
Right? Unless you really don't want to do it.
Yeah.
Unless you really don't want to do it.
Yeah.
Because it wouldn't be that hard. Baseball got a lot of money. And it can be write-offs. I mean, they got to find write-offs somewhere. So if you're not doing it, it's because you don't want to do it. And why don't you want to do it? Well, we can make it very elementary. Is obviously you just don't want us to play. You don't want us to be a part of it. And now with the money being so astronomical.
David, does Major League Baseball view, do they view the Latins with the darker skin not black?
And that's a question that Keyshawn Johnson doesn't even have to ask, because the majority of these players coming over here from Cuba, Venezuela, Puerto Rico, these are individuals that don't view themselves as black.
You guys be like, I know black, I know black, I know black, imposible, I know black. Be looking just like me. Be having the same hair. I be touching you like, it's not the same, it's not the same, it's not the same, papi.
Do they view that and say, we rather put the money into that than the actual communities that's underserved in America where black players can learn how to play baseball?
You know what, Keyshawn, I can't go out on a limb and say that's what they're thinking. But we can make it it's very simple. If you're able to go across the seas and build facilities and dorms over that far away, why can't you just go right around the corner over here and do it right here?
And so David Justice hit the nail on the head. If they wanted to, if they really wanted to, they could go to the inner cities and set up some of these facilities, whether it be baseball, basketball, NFL, because rest assured, all these different leagues are doing it.
But they can do that same opportunity here, Keyshawn, and it wouldn't even be hard to do. So why don't you do it? Why don't you put the money behind it? Why don't you fund it? Because you obviously don't want to do it. Because who's keeping you from doing it? What other source out there is keeping Major League Baseball from doing this? Who's above the commissioner? Nobody.
Nobody at all.
So you've made the decision that, we'll give Jackie Robinson his day every year. You know what I mean? And you see him, man, come on, bro.
And so this conversation between Keyshawn and David Justice was probably one of the deepest dives into some of the challenges facing so-called black players or so-called African-American players in the MLB. And one of the main reasons why it's not getting the attention it deserves, in my opinion, is because when people look out on that field, when people look out and watch Major League Baseball, they see players who look like black Americans. And so people really don't pay it too much attention. And when you think about it, it's really quite insidious how some of these sports leagues go out of their way to train and invest in the youth of other countries rather than invest in the poor youth of America. And that doesn't mean just black kids, because not all white kids are affluent. And so that's...
Do they view the Latins with the darker skin not black?
They always say that Jackie Robinson proved with the Brooklyn Dodgers that blacks could play baseball.
They're practically superhuman.
No, he didn't. Major League Baseball and everybody else already knew that blacks could play baseball.
We're going to knock this shit out of the team. Let's go. That's right. That's what I'm talking about. Oh, shit.
It was a fear factor for Major League Baseball officials, starting with Kennesaw Mountain Land as the commissioner, that they could play and they would overshadow the white players.
In 5 years, there's going to be a colored man playing in the majors.
You think? Man, I don't think the world changed that much.
Maybe not yet, but it will. I'll be out of a job.